Hello and welcome to a very special edition of UBU Pod. It has been a hot minute. I don't think I've ever said that before. But it sounded okay. Since I have recorded a podcast episode from my own podcast, UBU Pod. And I will likely say that this will be the final episode of UBU Pod, but not the last you're going to hear from me. So that's a teaser, and you can keep that in your back pocket. And if you want to know more, make sure you check out the show notes at the end because you'll be able to see how to get on my newsletter, how to follow me on Instagram, and stay in touch to see what is coming down the pipes. I am doing a solo episode. I think I did a couple of those before. I'm making video because one of my clients asked me to, and it's super easy to do. And I'm not going to edit this. This is just going to be me talking for a couple of reasons. One, I don't have a lot of time today. And two, I sort of want this to be unfiltered. So you should know already that I have made a blog about this topic. But here we go. This is so important. If you don't listen to anything else I've ever said, listen to this. So like most people, Tuesday night, September 10th, 2024, I took a gummy. Just kidding. I mean, I did take a gummy, but I didn't. I know that not everybody does. And then I thought, oh, maybe I'll check out the Harris-Trump debate. I'd been curious about it. I'd watched Clinton and Trump way back in the day. I don't actually always tune in when he's speaking because reasons that all of us have, but I wanted to check this out. I felt like I felt I felt like I was curious to see how she was gonna handle it. So I tuned in. I was probably about 10 minutes into it, 15 minutes into it. So I didn't see what others have, and I haven't gone back to check what others have said, that she seemed maybe a bit flustered or whatever. Because what I saw was powerful, badass winning. I saw new approaches to handling this guy, this former president. I'm sort of like, that was a little take on how she handled that at some point during the debate. If you haven't watched it, go and watch it. Um, because it's important. So I watched her basically totally smash it. She won clearly. He said the weirdest stuff. You don't you don't have to have me tell you some of the stuff he said. Although maybe you were avoiding it because you didn't want to activate your nervous system. But you can go check it out. I'm not going to repeat it. You could actually read my blog if you want to, because I did say a few things in there. And I went to bed and I was like, yes, all right. Finally, somebody has been able to figure out how to navigate this guy who doesn't play by any of the rules. So this morning, when I opened up X, Twitter, and I read this commentary of the debate, and yesterday was really busy, so I hadn't had a chance to. And I saw this tweet from this guy, Frank Luntz. I don't know who he is. So if he's like, I don't know what he has said before about people. I don't know. I read through his live tweeting of the debate, and he seems to be, generous on both sides, let's just say. He didn't seem to be biased necessarily. So if he is, I don't know. But here's the thing. There's a screenshot of Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. And the tweet reads, Kamala Harris made those facial expressions during every Senate hearing. Not sure why none of her debate prep coaches told her to stop that. So, look up the tweet, but here we go. And Tell me what you notice in this picture. And for those listening, it is a photo, a screenshot of Kamala Harris and Donald Trump from the debate. And they're both making facial expressions. Both of them. Also, FYI, they're humans with faces. We make facial expressions. And the thing that I find so strange about this is she was naturally reacting to absolute bonkers, bananas, straight up lies. I mean, I have met I have met folks in my life, maybe they were ex-boyfriends, who would straight up lie about something that you both had experienced. And this is the same type of behavior I see with Donald Trump. And she is reacting as one would to what is happening. What are you saying? And we're talking about her face. This is a woman who is the first Black vice president, is running for president, is the Democratic candidate. And we're talking about her face and not Donald Trump's. So here's why this is incredibly important for all of us right now, especially if you struggle with saying your opinion, getting up on stages, raising your hand in meetings, any type of thing where you're visible. Maybe you're a small business owner and you find it hard to get on social media and talk about your business. Maybe you're a speaker and you're realizing that you haven't been as visible as you could be. You haven't been reaching for bigger opportunities. This is for you. When I do my Speaking with Power workshop, and I've done it, I don't know if I'm in the hundreds, but I've done it a lot. And I work with groups of folks. I always say, who here has walked into a room and immediately felt like there was a vibe? Like you weren't welcome, or you were being scrutinized, or that something was off. You were othered. And a lot of folks put up their hands. There's a helicopter in the background. I've heard it a few times. I wonder what's going on. Anyway, like I said, I'm not editing this out. So most of the people who put up their hands are women, non-binary folks, folks within the 2S LGBTQIA plus group, disabled folks, Black folks, Hispanic folks, Indigenous folks, Asian folks, people of all color, neurodiverse folks. You get the drift. Hands up. And I say, okay, so when you felt this vibe, who then said, oh, it must be in my head. It's got to be me. So many hands stay up. And then I say, it's not you, it's them. Because we know from Mary Beard's excellent book, how can I show this? Women in Power. It's a short book. You can get it at your library. Really worth a listen. All the centuries back, these are some of the ways that women were described. Women who wanted to be in the forum. And by the way, like they were not welcome. And I'm being binary here because this is just how we talk about history. Barking, yapping, those are words used to describe women's voices. One woman successfully defended herself in the courts because she really had a man's nature behind the appearance of a woman. That's a direct quote. This stuff is centuries old, and most people probably don't even realize the internal bias that they have. And you're not going to unravel centuries of patriarchy at this meeting. But what you can do is know that this exists, know that it's not in your head. I want you to pay attention to how people are talking about women in power right now. There's that tweet from Elon Musk about Taylor Swift and her cats and like giving her a baby and like taking care of her cats, which is, I mean, what? Because she endorsed Kamala Harris, or said she didn't really endorse her. She just said she was voting for her. And, you know, this is outside of all of politics, essentially. Like, whether or not you think Kamala Harris should be the president of the United States, I think there's enough evidence to notice what's getting talked about for the woman candidate and what's not getting talked about for the other candidates. So I want you to pay attention because I want you to know that these feelings that you have are not all in your head. You are not creating problems where there aren't problems. There are problems, and we face them. And we can move past them. And here's how you do it. First of all, just keep challenging yourself when you say it's all in your head, because it's not. It exists. Your intuition is right. Your spidey senses are working. You get a vibe and it's there. And you're not going to be able to change it. And it's also not your responsibility to change it. What do? Show up anyway. Know that it's there and go forward, being awesome, being strong, using your skills, showing you're intelligent, speaking up. Take some speaking training. I have a free public speaking guide on my website, ubuskills.com. It's in the tools section. And make clear boundaries. Call BS out when you see it, right? We say things like, hey, Malcolm, you've interrupted me a few times. I'll take your questions at the end, right? Is Malcolm trying to mess with you? We don't know. Regardless, it's not helping. So we're going to call it out. If Malcolm feels comfortable interrupting, you can feel comfortable saying, hey, don't do that. You can make clear boundaries about what you will speak to and what you won't speak to, right? Let's say you go to a employee review. This happens all the time. If you're a woman or a non-binary person, or, you know, this actually, you know, covers a lot of ground. And people talk about your personality. We call that out. We say, my personality is not part of the job description. I'd like to stick to actions. I'd like to stick to data. We call this stuff out when it comes up because it neutralizes the other person's power over you by trying to mess with you, even if they're not trying to mess with you. More often than not, your direct report isn't even thinking about the fact that they are talking about your personality or that you should smile more. Oh my God, if one more person tells me to smile more, right? I am a late diagnosed perimenopausal ADHD queer woman. And I have been told to smile since I was in grade 1. And I can't even, like, I just can't even anymore, right? Like, I got a lot of different ways that I deal with that. But we're not doing that anymore. We are not letting people ruffle our feathers. We're not letting people take us off of our important paths. We're not letting people feel like their judgment of us is more important than what we are setting out to do. You have every right to step into that forum. Actually, probably have more of a right. You show up in your full power and you go out there and you be awesome. And you know what you're up against because you've been paying attention. You know it's there. You know it's real. It's not in your head, but you're going for it anyway. And the more of us that can do this, I'm not saying it's going to be easy because it's not, FYI. It takes practice and dedication and commitment. But the more of us that do this, the faster we'll see change. And guess what? We need change. We really need change. And we all know that. And I believe that a better world is available to us and we can get it. We just have to know how much power we actually have. All right, my friends, thank you for tuning in today. Like and share. Stay tuned. Make sure you're on the email list. Follow me. Don't follow me on X because I don't like the person that owns it, and I'm only ever there for marketing reasons. If you are a small business owner, check out Thriving Visibility. We start mid-September, first call September 25th. There's still time to join. I also do one-on-one coaching, and I've got some fun things coming down the tube. So stay tuned. Thank you for being here. There's no music, but that's another little tip. There will be music, more music very soon. Love you all. Thanks.